Jesus. Yeah, just give it to me. Hello. Hold on, y'all. I gotta put my little background. How's everybody doing? Excuse me. Give me 1 second. Oh. I just pushed it out. This one. Hello, my darlings. I think it's that one. Oh, I might have to turn off. Hi, Joanna. How are you, boo? How are you? I think I might have to turn this light off. Let me see. Hold on. I guess the light is good. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. If you guys are sending dirty comments, don't. How's everybody doing? Hi, Luffy. Can you suggest any tips, please? For what? I don't see any other comments. What are you talking about? Wanting this baby out already. I'm sure you do, girl. But let me tell you something. How many weeks are you, Joanna? I forget. Or I don't know if you ever told me, but remember that my newborn is sick with coronavirus. What are the 31 weeks, Joanna? Get out of here with that. What are some symptoms that you're having? Your newborn is sick with coronavirus. How old is your newborn? How many months? What we usually do, I mean, we don't, in my family, I'm not telling you to do this. This is my family. This is what we practice. This is what we do. When our child is sick, we put, I make my own vapor rub, right? So I do that. Nasal steams. So salt in water and do like a nasal steam for the baby. Putting onions in their socks. We give them breast milk. If you are breastfeeding, breast milk would be the best thing for them. I've been feeling pressure down there. You might want to belly bind, Joanna, so that you can lift some of that weight off. And also look into doing some inversions, but like do some prenatal yoga. There's a YouTube channel called Pregnancy Prenatal Yoga TV. Start doing that so that you can get some of that weight off of your pelvic floor and you won't feel as much pressure. My OB recommends me being induced at 39 weeks because I have GD. I'm 37 weeks. Do I need to? There's a great study on evidencebasedbirth.com, and you can read all about the 39-week inductions and why they do them. There's an analysis on the ARRIVE study, which is what they're basing their recommendations on. If your blood sugars are under control, if your diet is under control, and you feel healthy, it's up to you. Remember, use the brain method. Ask what are the benefits, what are the risks, what are the alternatives, and their benefits and risks. Ask for studies so that you can inform yourself. Ask what studies they're basing their recommendations on. Use your intuition to make informed decisions. And then also ask, what if we do nothing? I am expecting currently 11 weeks. Congratulations. And still nursing my 21-year-old girl. Oh, that's awesome. I am 38 plus and I have some mucus when I wiped with toilet paper. Is that the mucus plug? It was clear. Yeah, that could be a piece of your mucus plug. My second was breached. I had C-section. I'm 30 with my third. He's also breached. Any tips? Inversions. So yoga, doing like downward dog. Inversions are like when you have your hands on the floor and then your knees on like a bed or a couch. And you do that every day. There's a website called spinningbabies.com that can help you, that has like daily exercises that you can do. They have videos and everything with examples. She has congestion and fevers, but the fevers are gone now. I took her to the ER, but any natural remedies? Yeah, the fever is good because that means that the body is raising the temperature to kill all the viruses. So the fact that the fever is gone is good because the viruses are gone. So the congestion, again, nasal steaming. There's a, well, she's only 6 weeks. Breastfeeding is the best thing that you can do because your breast milk creates antibodies and creates the medicine that she needs. I'm 38. You're welcome. I've been counting down the weeks now. Girl, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. You're not gonna be pregnant forever, I promise you. But the more that you look at the days and the weeks and you're counting down, that's just gonna make it seem longer. Try to distract yourself, do activities, go for walks, read a book, watch a show, dance, cook something yummy, make sure your house is in order, listen to affirmations, download the Hypnobirthing app. My favorite is Christian Hypnobirthing because they have daily affirmations and meditations that you can do. But yeah, if you do that, you're gonna just make it seem much longer. What are your thoughts about tandem feeding? What are my thoughts about it? I mean, if you can do it, do it. If you don't want to, then stop doing it. What does it mean when you lose your mucus plug, or what should we do? Your mucus plug is like one of the signs that labor is coming soon. It can be usually within about like, if you lose the whole mucus plug, usually you would go into labor theoretically, within like 72 hours. What you should do is just make sure you nourish yourself, drink plenty of water, take naps, go for a walk, prepare yourself mentally, start listening to the hypnobirthing apps, have orgasms, dance, sing, laugh, kiss somebody you love, things like that. Your 2-year-old keeps you busy? Good. He'll distract you. Or she. My sister's in so much pain. Baby moves a lot in her stomach. Make sure that your sister is hydrating enough. She needs to hydrate with electrolytes because being dehydrated causes more pain also. And make sure that she's moving her body too. And she can also do belly binding. I'm 40 and 3 really want a VBAC. My baby is projected to be very large and they want to induce so she doesn't get any bigger. What do you think? 90% of the time when they take those measurements and they say the baby is too big, 90% of the time it's not accurate. The margin of error for those measurements, for those ultrasounds, is very big. So again, evidencebasedbirth.com has a great article on on macro babies. I would suggest you go read that, print out the sheet, and take it to your next appointment. Use the brain method. And also get a second opinion. Get another measurement from another office and compare the two. 90% of the time. And I made a video, and if you look at the comments section, so many women are like, yeah, they told me that my baby was gonna be 10 pounds and it was 7. And so it's just like, use the brain method, benefits, risks, alternatives, intuition, and what if we do nothing. Also, do big babies run in your family? If big babies run in your family, what's the issue? I'm taking on my first doula client to get my required hours in. Should I charge? I'd say yes, you should charge. Because whenever you're providing a service, especially of this magnitude, it's a lot of energy that it takes out of you. It's good to have an exchange of energy. And so them giving you something, even if it's a small charge, you can ask them, you can create a sliding scale. If you go on my website on the doula course page, if you scroll all the way down, there's a sample sliding scale, which basically is like you charge based on your based on the client's income. So whatever they make, that's what you charge. So you can charge, even if it's just $50, $100, since it's your first client, you should charge, because you at least will feel like, okay, at least I got something out of it as far as like compensation for my energy, my time, and my presence. Because if not, girl, you're just gonna feel depleted. You're gonna feel worn out, and it's just, trust me. I've learned that the hard way. I've had no signs of labor starting soon either. Yeah, well, it's not your time yet. Hold on. Is it normal to still have PPD 11 months postpartum? It is, especially if you don't have support. What birth control do you recommend? I don't recommend birth control. I'm not a medical doctor, and that's a medication, and I don't deal with medication. When do you get your period after birth? Usually after you stop breastfeeding. Postpartum question. My twins are a year old and now my hair is still falling out. Any tips? You need iron. You need to increase your iron. I didn't bring my iron pills. Hemoplex is a really good iron supplement. Also add rosemary essential oil or a rosemary rinse to your hair care routine. You're welcome, Damaris. Do you actually help birth the baby, or do you do more support work for mom? Only the mom births her baby. I support her in birthing her baby. Yes, I'm there during her birth. Hi, Erica. Is it normal to still have? Yes, it is. If you don't have any support. Best birthing positions to labor in to help with pain. Any upright position. So whether you're standing, squatting, lunging, even on all fours. But also it's important to listen to your body. Like, where does your body want to be? Sometimes you're going to want to lay down on your back, sometimes. But for the most part, being in an upright position. Birth pools are also really great because the water kind of absorbs a lot of the intense sensations. If your baby stops growing in your stomach, how crucial is it to get it out, or is it not serious? If the baby stops growing, I mean, I would say get a non-stress test and get also like an anatomy scan to really see what's going on. And also they need to test your placenta. It can be serious, yes, for sure. Have you ever seen a mama diagnosed with cholestasis go past 37 weeks? Have I? Yes, I have. If you have cholestasis, that's like liver issues, I would look into dandelion root tea. Look into it. When can I start drinking the raspberry tea? Anytime after 28 weeks, you're good to go. You can drink it before then, but most people start after 28. Collagen drinks, bone broth. I've had my doula certificate of completion for 2 years. I'm having a hard time getting exposure. Tips. You gotta get on social media, girl. Social media is your friend right now. Rosemary and what else? Iron. You need an iron supplement. You need an iron supplement. Hi, Casper. I'm 3 weeks postpartum. My feet feel like pins and needles and get very hot at times. Any advice? Go get checked out. Get your blood pressure checked. You might need magnesium also, but I would check my blood pressure. I would check if you have any numbness in your legs. That can be really serious, so I would go get checked out. And don't let them tell you that everything is normal. And if they tell you everything is normal and they don't want to run any tests, tell them, okay, I would like you to chart that, like put it in my chart, and I would like a copy of my reports so that I can take it somewhere else, showing that you refused to do testing because I'm telling you that I'm having this issue in my feet and you're ignoring me. You can drink the tea anytime after 28 weeks. You're welcome, Che. Suffered nerve damage. Now I want to doula with me during my labor. What happened? Why do I still feel so nauseous at 6 months? You could have hyperemesis gravidarum. pregnant after a miscarriage. My food aversions are horrible. Any recommendations? You might need some magnesium, vitamin B6. Carry around with you some peppermint essential oil to smell. If you can't eat anything, at least eat some bone broth. Oh shit. I forgot I had this candle. At least some bone broth. Any tips for keeping the placenta? I've been cleared to keep it, but where do I put it once I'm home? You can freeze it. If you have a dehydrator, you can dehydrate it, but you can freeze it. You could bury it in your backyard if you have a backyard. 30 and 3, any tips to get ready for birth? Download my online doula course. Also, announcement, my online doula course doubles as virtual doula support. So when you download my doula course, I will send you my phone number. If you request virtual doula support, I'll send you my phone number, and you have full access to text me throughout your pregnancy, your birth. We can FaceTime, we can get on a phone call. I will be your virtual doula if you purchase my online doula course. So take advantage. But a really good tip, hypnobirthing. Download a hypnobirthing app. My favorite is called Christian Hypnobirthing. There's also one called Gentle Birthing, and there's also a website called Hypnobirthing, hypnobirthing.com. Prevention of stretch mark creams, African shea butter, baby. African shea butter and belly binding. Thank you for the heart. Anything natural I can do to naturally get rid of a UTI during pregnancy? Yes, take a daily probiotic. That will clear the UTI like almost instantly, but you have to take it every day. A daily probiotic, eating fermented foods, vaginal steaming. I have vaginal steaming herbs on my website. Cranberry juice, of course. But yeah, a daily probiotic is really what's going to help you, because you want to repopulate the good bacteria in your vaginal flora. They left me in a deep butterfly position over 3 hours and it pinched my nerves. What? This is why I say it's so important. It's so freaking important to move during your birth. You have to move around. You cannot stay in one position too long. And that's why having a doula is so important, because a doula is there to remind you, hey, let's try this position. Hey, you've been in this position for a really long time. Let's try something else. Let's flip you over. Let's do this. Let's walk a little bit. You know what I mean? You're welcome, D. How can I take care of myself physically after a miscarriage? So when you have a miscarriage, I consider you postpartum. So the same thing that I would do with my postpartum clients, I would do with you who's had a miscarriage. So vaginal steaming, warming teas, warming foods, soups, stews, lentils, beef broth, a lot of iron. So anything with iron, cooked foods, root vegetables, warming teas. I have a postpartum tea also on my website. And then a lot of rest and processing your grief. Having somebody there to support you where you can process your grief is so important. Thank you, Mama, too. Tips to prepare for labor. Girl, I have so many tips. That's why I created an online doula course. There's so much that you can do. I mean, you really don't have to do anything if you are really in tune with your intuition and your body. I mean, there is a lot of preparation. What am I talking about? It's affirmations, like preparing yourself physically, mentally, spiritually. It's all really important, and it starts with your mindset. So a lot of people say birth is 90% mental. So if you can get yourself to have control over your mental state, you're 90% prepared. Breath work, getting a doula to support you. Like I said, my online doula course, if you download it, I can be your virtual doula. So I have clients that they text me. Whenever they have questions, they text me. When they have an appointment, they text me. We'll call once a month. When we get closer to the birth, we'll talk every week, every couple days. Having that support is really important. If you do nothing else, at least practice your breath work. Download a hypnobirthing app. My favorite is Christian Hypnobirthing. Speaking about infections, any natural remedies for BV and yeast? Mine keeps coming back. So when you have recurring yeast infections, I'm a person that, yes, we can take care of the physical, but what is the root cause of the yeast infection, right? What is the spiritual root cause, and also what is the root physical cause of the yeast infection? On the spiritual aspect, what are you holding on to? What are you not letting go of? What are you not speaking up for yourself of? That's something to think about. That's some journaling and shadow work that you can do. On the physical side, when you have a hub of bacteria in your vagina, whether it's in your uterus, your cervix, whatever, and it doesn't get cleared out with your monthly cycle, it doesn't matter how much antibiotics you take, you're going to have recurring yeast infections. So it's really important to clear that out and to repopulate your vaginal flora with the good bacteria that you're supposed to have. So you do that through vaginal steaming with antibacterial herbs. The regimen that I do for my clients is 10 days consecutively before or after your period. And then taking a daily probiotic to help repopulate that vaginal flora. Can I continue my probiotics like magnesium? Yes. Any specific probiotics for UTI? Usually, if it says women's health, the best brand that's out there is called Stonehenge. That's a really good brand. It's a little expensive, but it's kind of the best brand out there. But a women's probiotic, make sure it has live culture. What are some early pregnancy symptoms that are not commonly heard of? Your sense of smell changes, fatigue, your sense of taste changes, like things that you used to like to eat, you don't really like to eat anymore, or tender breasts. You might have a little bit of blood, a little tinge of blood. That it's not a period, but it's like a spotting. I found out maybe having mano twins. Is there a chance that they're incorrect and could be? I mean, yeah, there's always a chance, but have you done your 20-week anatomy scan? I have GD and they want to medically induce me at 37 or 39 weeks. Can I request to not be induced? Girl, you are a sovereign being. You ultimately are the expert in your body. You're the expert in your birth and your pregnancy. Use the brain method. I always say, ask what are the benefits? What are the risks? What are the alternatives? What are their benefits and risks? Where are the studies that you're basing your recommendations on, so that I can make an informed decision? And then use your intuition. And then ask them, what if we do nothing? But really ask questions. You have to ask questions. What do you think about girdles and fajas in postpartum? I like them. I prefer the Benkang belly binders. And I would say do that 4 to 7 days after giving birth. So if you wait a week, then you start belly binding, because you don't want to belly bind too early and risk having more bleeding. Dang, that was deep. It makes so much sense. I can't wait to download your course for your health. Oh. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about the course, you can go on my website. I have like a list of the modules, reviews from students that I've had and all of that. Could you experience nausea a couple days after conception? Yeah, you can. Is it weird to be 1 week past period but negative test? No, it's not weird, because sometimes it takes 8 to 10 days after your missed period to get a positive result. Or you can go get blood work done. Usually they can detect lower HCG levels through blood work. No, I'm early there in one sac. Next scan on the 4th, around 12 weeks with MF. I've never been high risk before. Are they saying that you're high risk just because you're having twins? Or is it like a medical thing? Symptoms of prolapse, and can prolapse cause miscarriage? Prolapse is when your cervix is kind of coming out or protruding. Can it cause a miscarriage? Possibly, yes. Usually prolapse happen like from like having past childbirth. It can happen from just having a weak pelvic floor. It can happen due to trauma, sexual trauma, or childbirth trauma. It can happen due to if you use Diva cups. Diva cups can cause prolapse. But vaginal steaming can help with prolapse. Vaginal steaming, doing Kegels, pelvic floor physical therapy can help. Oh my God. Are most maternity 21 gender results accurate? They're pretty accurate. They're like 99% accurate. You are so knowledgeable. Thank you, girl. I've been doing this for 10 years. I better be. If I am pregnant, I'm going to look into your course. Do you service New Jersey? Yes, I offer traveling doula services also. I actually have a client this month, the end of this month, in New Jersey. And then I have a client in New York in November. Well, she's my friend, but she's my client for November. So yeah, I do travel, but like I said, if you can't afford the traveling doula fee, then I can be your virtual doula. Because of mono twins, same sac and placenta, or same sac 2 placentas, I guess. I don't. We'll see what happens. Can you miscarry on the first day of your period that was late by 5 days? Can you? Yeah, you can miscarry whenever. 36 weeks and 1 day today. Congratulations. 17 weeks this week. Congratulations. Do you actually help birth the baby, or do you do more support work for mom? Only the mom birthed her baby, so I don't understand your question. Am I at the birth? Yes, I am at the birth. I do birth support, and I also do postpartum support. So if with my doula package, like as a birth doula, I support you throughout your pregnancy, your birth, and then 1 week postpartum. And if you need extra support past that 1 week, then it'll be like an additional service. But I do have also a lot of clients that just use the postpartum service support. So I can do both. But yeah, only the mom births her own baby. Are you familiar with extending leave for postpartum depression? Am I familiar with it? I can ask my sister. My sister works in HR and benefits, but it depends on the company. Do you help catch the baby or pull the baby out? No, Jesus Christ. Nobody should be pulling your baby out. No, if that is something that needs to happen, I prefer, as a doula, I do prefer mom to catch her own baby. And most midwives that I work with, they prefer mom to catch her own baby, or even the dad. And it's a very hands-off approach. You're literally there for support. You're there to make sure that everything is going good. Midwives and birth assistants who assist midwives, they check mom's vitals every hour, every half hour, every 15 minutes. Blood pressure, fetal heart rate, pulse, temperature, etc., etc. But no, as a doula, you kind of support the mom through her breathing. It's like a birth coach. You help her breathing, you help her change positions, you give her words of affirmation. You're kind of like a anchor for her to know that she's safe and that she can just let go and trust her body and that everything is going good. And she can also help, if it is in the hospital, she can help kind of help you navigate the system. Found out I get 3.5 months off for leave paid. Who would want to go back after that? I know, it's ridiculous. Other countries, they do like a year, even for fathers. I think Finland does a year paid, and for the father too, and it's so ridiculous. 23 days postpartum. Congratulations, mommy. I'm so ready for the gym. Listen, you can do little pelvic, like core exercises, like small things. Follow me on Instagram. I'm gonna repost this lady's page on my stories. She shows you how to do like small, gentle little body movements that you can do during the, before you're able to actually go to the gym. But I would not recommend going to the gym until you're at least 40 days postpartum, at least, minimum. You don't want to risk bleeding out. That's nice. I know, right? I think I'm going to go to Finland when I get pregnant. Well, I mean, I don't have to because I work for myself, but is a doula usually covered by insurance? No. Some are, though. You can call your insurance and see if they have anybody in network. Do you think asking for an all-female team for your birth and fertility care is a crazy request? No, it's not a crazy request. I actually recommend that. What the hell are men doing in women's health anyway? That's the real question. I had a friend that when he was doing his residency, and he was like he was trying to see and choose his profession. I asked him, I'm like, why do men choose OBGYN? And he told me 90%, and a lot of them are good, so don't take this with a grain of salt. A lot of them are good, and they're very professional and whatever. But 90% of them are creeps. I don't know if you guys ever seen that documentary, 1,000 Babies, I think it was called, where this infertility doctor was inseminating women with his own sperm without them knowing. Excuse me? So 90% of them are creeps, and he said 10% of them are like autistic, and they just absorb the knowledge, and they're just really good at it. So and I, working with OBGYNs, male OBGYNs, like the ones that I worked with, I'm like, yeah, he's definitely autistic for sure. My stomach is super tight and baby is sitting really low. I'm 35 and 5. What should I do? What do you mean your stomach is super tight? Like, does it tighten, contract? Is it like tightening and then loosening, or what's going on? Are you drinking enough water? Are you adding electrolytes to your water? Are you stressed? Are you walking too much? Like, is this something I should be concerned about? I don't know. How do you become a doula? I became a doula 10 years ago. When I was living in New York, I did a training. Since my first training, I've done like 5 different trainings. And that's why in my online doula course, everything that I learned from those trainings, I put it in my course. But yeah, 10 years ago, I did like a 3-day training. My course is a 3-week training because it has a lot of information. My birth was definitely not what I planned. I literally forced baby out with my forceps. Oh, I'm so sorry, mommy. I'm so sorry. Why are more OB offices pushing for repeat C-sections? Because they make more money out of it, and it's a controlled environment. Spontaneous labor, spontaneous birth is Mother Nature, and you can't control Mother Nature when you just let her do her thing. It's organized chaos. You can't control her. And so that's kind of like their attempt at controlling it. The C-section rate in this country is ridiculous. Like, it tightens, but I don't know if it's contractions or Braxton Hicks. How often does it tighten, Jade? And also, are you drinking enough water? Is drinking soda every day bad when pregnant? Sorry, this is silly, I'm new. Yes, even when you're not pregnant, drinking soda every day is bad. Too much sugar. Recommendations for electrolytes. I like it's LMNT, coconut water, real salt, like adding real salt to your water with some lemon. There's also ATH Sports, which I ordered some, so I'm waiting to get it so that I can report. I can feel it tightening at random moments, but it's been going on for about a week. Yeah, that's probably Braxton Hicks, Jade. Just make sure you're drinking enough water, and try not to lift any heavy objects, and not Like, don't do too much. Rest. You need to rest because that could also be putting stress on you. Download a hypnobirthing app. Christian hypnobirthing is one of my favorites. I'm 34 weeks today. Last night I started to leak colostrum. I want to save it, but I have GD. Save it. What do you mean? Why can't you save it if you have GD? If you can save it, save it. I would not recommend pumping though at 34 weeks. After 37 weeks, I would say you can pump, but pumping can stimulate contractions, so I wouldn't do that at 34 weeks. Hello, Blackie. How are you? I am a newborn care specialist. My new mom is crying all the time, does not connect to the baby. Oh, that's hard. Does she have like a history of like mental illness or depression or anxiety? Did she have a traumatic birth? Does she have a partner that's supportive? What is she doing like daily to help her like just like doing a spiritual practice that can ground her and can also like hygiene. Spiritual hygiene is really important. She's not alone. You know, she's not alone. That happens a lot, especially when there's no support. Like, I mean, I know you're a newborn specialist, but like somebody that's familiar to her, somebody that is part of her family or her friend group or whatever, if she doesn't have that, it makes it even worse. And there's times, this is why it's so important. Like, people don't understand how important spiritual hygiene is postpartum. Everybody talks about, well, nobody talks about really postpartum, but a lot of people just focus on like the physical aspect of postpartum, but the spiritual aspect of postpartum. This is why you'll hear grandmas or granny midwives say you have to have your head covered, your feet covered, you have to belly bind, you have to drink warming foods, you have to stay away from the public. It's not just because of physical things or bacteria or viruses. It's also spiritual. It's also spiritual attack. When you are postpartum, you're open physically and spiritually and emotionally. And so sometimes you'll have voices in your head that are not, they don't come from you. They come from, you know, they can attach themselves to you because you're so open. And so in Mexico, they have the practice of closing of the bones. You have to close yourself back up. So that postpartum period is really important to close yourself back up mentally, spiritually, and physically. So I would look into doing some closing of the bones. You can look up videos on YouTube, you know, and just helping her navigate that. I wish I could help her from here, but I don't know where you guys are at. Do most waters break on their own? First time pregnant, I see so many people having to be induced. So here's the thing. They're not having to be induced. They're being coerced to be induced. There's a difference. Your water doesn't have to break for you to go into labor. Some babies are born with the sac intact. It's called an en-cal birth. Sometimes the water breaks as you are giving birth. It doesn't always have to break. Sometimes the water break, you have a high leak where the water bag breaks up top. So no. Long story short. Any advice for hip pain? Bone broth, stretching, kinesio tape. My baby is low, but my upper abdomen gets hard during the day. Is that normal? That could be Braxton Hicks. Make sure that you are drinking enough water with electrolytes. Jay, don't say sorry for asking so many questions. It's okay. That's what I'm here for. VBAC or C-section? That is up to you, but there's two websites I recommend looking at, the VBAClink.com and VBACfacts.com. My OB said my stomach is measuring 2 weeks behind. What should it be? I've always been small though. If you're measuring 2 weeks behind, then maybe your due date is not accurate. Maybe you ovulated later or earlier. Not everybody ovulates on day 14. They base it off of a very outdated system. Get an anatomy scan at 20 weeks if you're not already 20 weeks. And that should tell you, they should be able to update your due date. Also, if you know exactly the day that you conceived, or if you know your LMP, download a moon cycle app and count 10 moon cycles from the first day of your last cycle, and that should give you a more accurate due date. Is there such a thing as too much baby movement? Not necessarily. Unless the baby's like uncomfortable because you're laying a certain way or something, could maybe, but I would be more concerned if you don't feel any movement. I'm 8 weeks and been having horrible acid reflux for 3 weeks. How can I relieve this? Make a cough syrup with honey, apple cider vinegar, a pinch of cayenne pepper, a pinch of cinnamon, and lemon juice. Is it harder to give birth naturally if your pelvic is tilted? Not necessarily. And you can do stretches to make it limber. And I would say bone broth is also really good. How do they handle shoulder dystocia during water birth? Random thought I've had. So here's the thing. Shoulder dystocia mostly happens because you're laying on your back. When you lay on your back, your pelvic floor, I wish I have to order a pelvis, a bone pelvis. When you lay on your back, the outlet is so much smaller and it's so much harder for your baby to pass through. If you are in water and you are upright, you're usually more limber and your pelvic floor is more open, and so it doesn't really happen. My homegirl is pregnant. She's only a few weeks and she's very nauseous. She needs magnesium or vitamin B6. I thought I couldn't because I'm risk for preterm and preeclampsia. I wasn't sure if it was safe. If what was safe? When should I start prepping for labor? I'm currently 30. Girl, you should have been started prepping for labor when you found out you was pregnant. Download a hypnobirthing app. Christian hypnobirthing is my favorite. Practice your breath work. You're so awesome for sharing all this info. You're welcome. What should I expect for induction? You should ask your doctor. Ask your doctor, how do you intend on inducing me? What are you going to use? What are we inducing with? And what are the benefits? And what are the risks? And what if and what studies are you basing your recommendations on? And why are we inducing? Yes, give me the study so that I can do my own research and I can make an informed decision. And then what if we do nothing? And then, go from there. And then if you absolutely do have to be induced, which most of the time you don't, unless you decide that that's what you want after you made an informed decision, what to expect, it depends on what they're using to induce you. I'm about to study to become a certified birth educator. I know a lot, but not everything. Yeah, when you're in this field, you're always going to be learning. You never stop learning. Is it normal to feel my baby in my lower stomach at 17 weeks? Feels like her head or something. Yes, it is normal. If you feel like it's too low or you feel a lot of pressure, I would do some yoga, some prenatal yoga. There's a YouTube channel called Prenatal Pregnancy Yoga TV. That is what I would recommend. Feeling freezing cold and waking up with a super fast heartbeat, normal in pregnancy. It could be you have low iron and low blood pressure. I would get my blood pressure checked out. The rapid heartbeat, it can happen too because you're producing more blood. You're pumping more blood. This is an amazing place. Love this. I want to do more in person. I think next year I'm going to start doing in-person get-togethers. So if anybody's in Raleigh, North Carolina, keep following me because we're going to be doing some stuff. Any thoughts of a first-time mom not really showing at 17 weeks or not feeling kicks? It could be you have an anterior placenta, like your placenta's in the front. Usually people feel kicks though after 18 weeks. But if you're having concerns, trust your intuition and go get checked out. She had a good birth, very good support is why I think it's not worse. I will look up on YouTube. Okay, yeah, I mean, it could also be hormonal imbalances. Nanny, newborn care specialist. It could be hormonal imbalances. And like I said, just making sure that she is protecting her spirit is really important. Because I know she's probably hearing voices, you know. Currently 4 weeks, I know, very early. Congratulations, Nicole. But is it normal to not have any symptoms? Some women don't have any symptoms. Count your blessings. Count your blessings, girl. You're an NC, Ashanti? Yay! Yeah, I'm gonna start to just plan out next year, and so I think I'm gonna do like a monthly get together with birth workers and moms, and I have a friend that has a nice place that we can meet at. She does massages and she does really good teas and ginger drinks and stuff, and so soon. Currently having contractions 6 to 10 minutes apart. Do you advise I rest and take it easy? Yeah. Well, it depends. Like, what does your body tell you? What does it want? Do you want to rest or do you feel like you want to move? So it's listen to your body and let your body lead you. Trust your body. Eat something yummy, something warm, and drink some warm tea. If your body wants to move, go for a walk. Go with somebody though. And if you're tired, definitely take a nap. I was shocked at how low my baby girl's head was at my 35 weeks and she is lodged on my pelvis. Yeah, my sister's 21 weeks now, and we went for the scan last week and the baby's head was pretty low. Usually if it's your first, the baby, yeah, they're pretty good with that position. You're welcome, Briante. What's the channel again? It's Prenatal Pregnancy Yoga TV. Will you know that your water breaks? If you have a low break, like if it breaks in the bottom, you'll usually have like a gush. If it breaks like up top, what they call like a high leak, then it'll kind of be just like a trickle. So you might not know, but you'll feel like a wetness. Sometimes if it happens in the shower, you won't notice. So, but usually if, you know, even if it happens in the shower, once you like get out and you're cleaning yourself and wiping yourself and you still feel like a wetness, then you'll know. But sometimes your water doesn't break until you're actually in labor. 37 weeks today and the pressure is so bad. Do some inversions, Leaky. And do you know about Kinesio muscle tape? That can help kind of with the weight of the weight of the belly to keep it up. That might be good for you. Or belly binding or inversions. So like downward dog, or having your hands and knees on the floor and then your legs up on the couch or the bed. Just be careful. You're welcome, XX. Fourth baby, 35 years old. Should I take the kids' aspirin? I want to skip until it's necessary. It's up to you, girl. Empress. I mean, cayenne pepper is also a blood thinner. So the reason that they tell you baby aspirin is because it helps to thin your blood so that you can so that your blood pressure won't be so high. But cayenne pepper does that too. So put some cayenne pepper under your tongue. Practice your breath work, lower your stress levels. Also, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, it's a circulation issue. There's also like acupressure points. If you do like a V with your hand and massage like this, it can help, because the point of high blood pressure is the fact that the blood is not properly circulating up to your brain, which means you're not breathing properly. And so the pressure of the blood has to increase to be able to get the blood up to your brain. That's the whole thing. So if you're stressed out, You're probably taking shallow breaths, so you're not having enough oxygen, so the blood is not circulating properly, causing high blood pressure. So you can do these massages, practice breath work, slow down, set boundaries with people, places, and things. Ginger tea can also help. And then, like I said, cayenne pepper. If you don't want to do the baby aspirin. If you want to do the baby aspirin, do the baby aspirin. I've had an ectopic pregnancy 2 years ago. I'm pregnant again. How many weeks would I know if the baby? I mean, usually maybe after 8 to 10 weeks. Just because baby's head is low, I'm 38 weeks, does that mean you're about to go into labor? I mean, you're 38 weeks. You're in that window. So, yeah. How was the first birth you attended? My first birth I attended was my sister's birth. It was her third baby. The first two she had, the first one she had at a birthing center. The second she also had at a birthing center. And then this was going to be her first home birth. So when she told me she was pregnant with her third, I was like, okay, I want to be there. So I started looking into doing my research. How can I support her? And I saw I could be a doula. So I did a training, like a 3-day training. And then I flew to Miami and I was her doula. And I stayed with her for 3 weeks. And I knew that it was like my calling, because after the birth, my sister looked at me and the midwife was like checking the placenta or whatever. And my sister looked at me and she was like, so how do you feel, your first birth? And I was like, and the midwife was like, this was your first birth? I was like, yeah. She was like, it doesn't seem like it was your first birth. And then I went back to New York and I just never stopped attending births. I was working at a stock transfer agency and I kept learning. I kept taking trainings. I went to Tennessee to do my midwifery assistance program. And then I started working at an OBGYN center / birthing center. And then I met a home birth midwife and I became her birth assistant. And it just snowballed from there. Is there a week where it's too late and induction is needed? I mean, that's kind of like a case-by-case basis, but the rule is anything past 42 weeks. Is it possible to have VBAC after 2 C-sections? It is possible. It depends. Go to the VBAClink.com and VBACfacts.com. They have guidelines for VBACs. Hello, Kelly. I have a quick question about my birth. It was in August 2020. What's up? I just gave birth. Congratulations, Brianna. How do you feel? At what point can they no longer give an epidural? I got there and was 3 centimeters dilated. Then they forgot to check me for a while, and then I was 6 centimeters dilated and they wouldn't give me an epidural. That's weird. Yeah, usually they would. I don't see why they wouldn't. I would say, I think anything after 6, they probably wouldn't, because they expect it to just go really fast. But that's weird though. I'm surprised. If baby is measuring 2 weeks ahead at 34 weeks, do you think I'll be induced early? Only if you decide to be induced early. But no. Due dates are not 100% accurate, okay? So don't go by the due date. Due dates are estimated. It's an EDD, estimated due date. It's not 100% accurate, especially if they're just going by your last menstrual cycle. Not everybody ovulates at 14 days. So no, it's not an accurate description of your due date. You're welcome, Empress. What's the best advice to not rip down there? First time mom here. Do not force yourself to push. Allow your body to tell you when it needs to push, and it will tell you. You'll have the urge. You'll have the urge to bear down. Kind of like when you gotta poop. You don't, unless you're constipated, you don't force yourself to poop. You just kind of go with it. It's a positive feedback loop. Give birth in an upright position, standing, squatting, lunging. even on all fours is better than on your back. Give birth in water. And do not consent to an episiotomy unless it's medically necessary. And if you're not laying on your back, it will not be medically necessary. What training did you take? My first training was with Ancient Song Doula Services in Brooklyn. Did she get an epidural? Who? My sister? No. It was a home birth. All of her births were completely unmedicated. First time mom here. Any tips on pumping colostrum prior to baby being born? If you are going to pump, do it after 37 weeks, but it's not necessary unless you know you're going to have a C-section or you have like medical issues or anything like that. Does most water breaks naturally? Yes, most break naturally if people are left alone. If you leave Mother Nature alone, she will do what she has to do. Best way to get baby more engaged. You can do vaginal steaming. You can sit on the toilet. You can do like little figure eights on an exercise ball, curb walking, lunges, twerking, shaking your ass can be really helpful. Downward dog can help. 36 and 4 and I have Braxton Hicks like crazy, but she is measuring bigger than she should. Remember that those measurements are not super accurate. 3 days past my due date, really worried about the risk. Girl, stop it. Stop it right now. 3 days past your due date, past your estimated due date, that's not 100% accurate. Only 3 to 5% of women actually give birth on their due date. So please do not stress over that. Please, 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 please. I have my anatomy scan soon as drinking 100 ml, good goal to maintain. That's good. Just make sure you're adding electrolytes to your water. How to heal after miscarriage and prepare body to try again. Treat yourself as if you're postpartum. Warming teas, warming soups, vaginal steaming, mind, body, and spirit reset. Download my online doula course. When you download it, you have the option to have me as your virtual doula support. In my doula course, the first few sections are on fertility, shadow work, and breath work, and grounding. Those would be really good for you, and nutrition. All of that is really good for you to kind of reset and start preparing again. And I would give yourself at least 3 months. My first was 9.5 pounds, and they said this one was already almost 6 pounds, so I wasn't sure if they would. Did you give birth vaginally to the 9.5 pound? Also, should I drink something sugary or caffeine 30 minutes before? You don't have to, no. I mean, you can, but no. I got a C-section at 10 centimeters, hurt so bad I couldn't push anymore. Oh. How many milligrams of Unisum can I take a day for nausea? Whoever prescribed you your Unisum is who should be telling you how many milligrams. How the heck am I supposed to do downward dog at 40 weeks? Well, if you had been doing it throughout your pregnancy, you would be able to do it. Well, do inversions then. If you can't do downward dog, then do the inversions of... I would bind your belly first. Like if you have a scarf or something that you can bind it to kind of help with the weight of it, bind it first and then do inversions, which is your hands and knees on the floor, your legs on the couch. You can go to spinningbabies.com too to see some pictures of how to do that. And that can also help. What kind of teas can a pregnant woman have? Oh, I love this song. You can have nettle. These are teas that are high in iron and minerals, other minerals and vitamins. Nettle, alfalfa, red raspberry leaf, chamomile. So even if baby is measuring gestational age, the due date can be wrong. It's not that the due date is wrong, it's that the due date is estimated. Only God and your body and your baby knows when it's going to be born. Exactly. You can, what I always say is for a more accurate due date is to look at the moon cycle of when the first day of your last period. If you look at, I'm gonna make a video on it to show you the app that I have. But if you look at what phase of the moon was in when it was like the first day of your last period, it can give you a more accurate estimated due date. It's still estimated. And then you count 10 cycles, 10 moon cycles from that day. And then that would give you a more accurate time frame. And then around that time, look at when the full moon is going to be, because most babies are born during the full moon or around the full moon, give or take 2 or 3 days. What's an alternative for an epidural? Hypnobirthing and water birth and pain management through breath work and stuff like that. And they had to put me on oxygen and almost gave me a C-section because his heart rate was dipping. Did they give you Pitocin? Did they induce you, Ashley? Do more people give birth earlier than their expected due date or after? Most people give birth after. Most. If you have medical issues, or if you take medication, or if you're highly stressed, or if you're having twins, it'll be before. But most women go after if it's their first baby. The more babies you have, sometimes it's earlier. But most women give birth after 41 and 5 days, actually. Between 41 and like 2 to 5 days. Tips and tricks for first trimester nausea. I have a blog on my website on nausea, and I have a whole bunch of tips. Mostly it's like ginger ale. They have herbal nausea patches that you can wear. Magnesium, vitamin B6. Postpartum hair loss, you need iron. You're missing iron. Look into Hemaplex. Hemaplex is a really good iron supplement. Hemaplex or Floridix, or eating beef liver, or like eating iron-rich foods, spinach, things like that. Bone broth. Lowering your stress levels. A lot of people don't have a daily grounding practice where you're breathing, where you're grounding with the earth, where you're praying, where you're like really being present. You have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. You have to prioritize your mental health, prioritize your emotional well-being, prioritize your spiritual hygiene. And then adding rosemary to your hair care routine. If you drink, do you have to pump and dump? Yes. Yeah. And drink a lot of water with electrolytes. I'm currently trying to conceive. What are some foods that will help with implantation? Foods that help your body produce progesterone. So like beets, red peppers, Brussels sprouts. Just eating a lot of stay in the produce section. Organic fruits and veggies, organic meats. Stay away from processed foods. Stay away from greasy foods. Vaginal steaming is also really good. I have a vaginal steaming blend called the Womb Healer. I have a Womb Healer tincture, which is an herbal blend to help with your hormones, help balance your hormones, help balance your nervous system. And then I have a period tea also. I hear giving Pitocin right after labor is protocol. It's protocol for the hospital, but that doesn't mean that you have to accept it. You can decline it. Because what the hell, if I'm not hemorrhaging, why are you just giving me Pitocin just automatically? If you're hemorrhaging, okay, give Pitocin. It should be expected management. They don't do expected management anymore. They just give everybody the same thing. No. It should be expected management. Wait and see. If I'm hemorrhaging, if you see that I'm bleeding more than whatever, okay, give me the Pitocin. But don't just give me Pitocin just because that's your protocol. Hospital policy is not law. Hospital policy is for employees that work at the hospital. Last time I checked, unless you're a nurse of that hospital, you're not an employee. So hospital policies do not pertain to you. So they didn't induce because I went into labor naturally, but they hooked me up to pee and then stopped it. Why would they do that? If you're already progressing naturally, why are they giving you Pitocin? And then that messes... If you guys haven't watched The Business of Being Born, it gives you kind of like the the cascade of interventions that hospitals tend to go through trying to control the situation that increases the C-section rate. You're welcome, Diana. I'm 32 weeks and I'm now seeing brown discharge, not doing anything different, no pain. Is it also with like is it mucousy? And do you feel your baby moving? Does it smell? What's going on? And then I gotta go. I gotta do some Pilates. Also, while I wait for Brittany, if you guys download my online doula course, it doubles as virtual doula support from me. So when you download the course, you email me that you would like virtual doula support, and then I'll email you my phone number, and we will start the virtual doula support. You can text me whenever if you have any questions about anything. For your appointments, what questions to ask, anything, and we will constantly be in contact. Do you have a birth plan template? In my doula course, I do. It's in my doula course. There's websites that you can go to do like a birth plan, but to be honest with you, I'm not really big on birth plans because I'm more big on birth rights. As long as you know your rights, that's why I created a birth rights ebook, because that you can download, you can print it out and bring it with you. I list out your birth rights and then the laws that protect your birth rights. And to be honest, that's really what you need, because things change when it comes to your birth or like your birth plan or preferences or whatever. But your rights never change. And so you have the right to decline anything. You have the right to accept anything, you know, and no is a full sentence. And so really knowing your rights is really what's important. Everything else, and also I feel like when you go in with a birth plan, everybody they roll their eyes. Not everybody, but a lot of the people that work in hospitals, they're like, there's even a hospital in Alabama that like literally has a sign, I don't know if it's still there, but they're like, we don't accept birth plans, we don't allow doulas. I was like, oh my god, I hope they get shut down. Thank you for the rose. Do hospitals have a right to kick you out if you choose not to have pee to speed up labor? No, they do not have the right. No, absolutely not. Every hospital also has a patient advocate. So if they ever, and you have the right to fire the doctor, fire the nurse, and ask for somebody else. You are a paying customer. You're there for a service. This is America, capitalism. As long as you're paying, even if it's insurance, you know, you have the right to be there. They also have the right to decline, right? But then you can fire them and get somebody else to do it. But yeah, it's more important to like know your rights. Hello, Jackie. I'm about to start my birth doula course. I'm excited. Can you tell me some of your best practices? You're taking my doula course or what? Whose doula course are you taking? My best practices are in my doula course. And it's okay. The number one thing I will say is learning nonverbal communication. Body language is really important. So being a really good observer, because when you have a client, when they're going through the motion, when they're going through their contractions and stuff, you do not want to be asking them questions like, oh, do you want water? Do you want this? Do you need chapstick? No, just observe. You ask them for consent before you touch them, yes. But observe. If they have, like, if their eyes are like this or their shoulders are tense, use your observation skills and take that as a cue that they need to, like, smooth out their eyebrows. Give them a little temple massage. Give them a little chest compression, hip squeeze. If their hand is on their back, get back there and do some counter pressure. If you see that their lips are dry, put some chapstick on them. In between contractions, give them water. Don't ask, just give it to them. They need it. So different things like that. That's the best thing I can tell you. Is a fundal massage needed? Yes, because you want to make sure that the uterus is contracting to close up those blood vessels where the placenta was attached. Now, does it need to be as rough as some nurses in the hospitals do it? Absolutely not. You can teach mom how to do firm but gentle massages so that then she can do it on herself or her partner can do it or whatever. But no, it does not need to be that rough. Do you see my response? I do not. I didn't see your response, Brittany. Can you try to put it again? But also, maybe you might have to abbreviate some things. Like if you use the word breast or vagina or whatever, you might have to abbreviate. All right, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go. You know what, Brittany? How about you send me a DM? Send me a DM and I'll answer you through there. No smell, baby is moving. Okay. It could be just use your intuition. If you feel like something might be wrong, go get checked out. There's nothing wrong with just checking yourself out if you're in doubt. But it could be dehydration. It could just be a piece of the mucus plug. It could be a little bit of a tinge of old blood coming out. So if it's like a mucusy kind of consistency, it could be, like I said, a little bit of the mucus plug. So sometimes pieces of your mucus plug will come out earlier and it'll just repopulate. As long as it's not like the whole mucus plug, you should be okay. All right, y'all, I love you. Thank you guys for being here with me. I'll be back tomorrow. Check out my website. Check out my Instagram. Check out my online doula course. I have some postpartum care boxes left. I have vaginal steaming herbs. Everything is organic. Everything is made with a lot of love. I have a womb healer tincture. I have a period tea. I also have postpartum care support, virtual doula support along with my doula course if you download it. ¿Qué más? Postpartum support if you're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. Hit me up. Let me know. I've been getting together with a lot of people here in Raleigh, which is really cool. So I'm excited about what's gonna happen next. You're welcome, Brittany. I love you guys. I'll see you later. I'll see you tomorrow.